Hello and welcome to another episode of Game On, the show where we take a deep dive into the world of underrepresented sport on offer in Edinburgh. I'm Andrew Morrison, and for the next 25 minutes, I'm joined by my doubles partner, Emma Latto.
Hello, today Ross takes a plunge into the world of open water swimming. He joined the Blue Tits for their Sunday dip at Wardie Bay.
Eric guides us through Edinburgh's curling scene and discovers the impact of only having one rink available for users on the loading.
And to round things off, we pay a visit to Low Tide Jiu-Jitsu in Stockbridge. And we even jump on the mats ourselves.
Now, to kick things off, aided by facilities such as the Commonwealth Pool in Newington, swimming has always been a popular sport in Edinburgh. But the reputation of open water swimming has remained under the surface. Portobello is renowned for its sea swimming opportunities, but what are the benefits of swimming in the freezing cold, Emma?
I feel like there's loads. This might not be everyone's cup of tea, but there's definitely a lot to say for it shocking your body, especially in the AM, calms your anxieties through the rest of the day. There's a lot of research to go along with that.
Yeah, well, of course. I think the North Sea is a bit too cold for me. But anyway, Ross joined a group of women in Granton who can't get enough of the icy waves.
Hello everybody, we are here at Wardie Bay in Granton and we are joining the Blue Tits swimming group today for some open water swimming. We wanted to get an idea of why there are groups of people wanting to get in the freezing cold North Sea. So yeah, we're going to go have a look.
There's a man's group as well, the Edinburgh Blue Balls.
They stole our thunder. How dare they?
Oh, the Blue Tits were first.
And obviously, when the Blue Tits is obviously it's a worldwide thing, but obviously we're the Edinburgh Blue Tits, so they've obviously got in the back of that and it's the Edinburgh Blue Balls.
But
So,
they do really well for men's health,
Yeah, they
especially
do.
mental
Yeah.
health.
yeah, so
Really good.
there's I seem like Portobello. I swim at the Commie on a Friday morning, and the guy that I got chatting to the guy who was taking my money, and it turns out he's one of the Blue Balls, and there's about 45 of them swim
Aye, there's loads.
regularly on a Sunday at Portobello.
They've
So you
been
can do your
really
men's
good
club
for each
there
other.
as well. So it's not just women that go and do it as well. But obviously a lot of because like the Blue Tits, and more so at the Portobello there are men that swim, but there are more women that swim in the groups. But that's probably why they've got the Edinburgh Blue Balls there as well.
Yeah. So was that your first time out today?
First time.
Yeah. How did it go?
Freezing. It was so cold. It's colder than you could ever imagine. But it was good, I think.
Good?
Good, yeah.
You don't sound very sure.
No, it was really good. I think I need the hands, the gloves,
Okay.
and the feet. That might help. But it takes your breath away. You really struggle to control your breathing.
Yeah,
It was hyperventilating.
Do it again?
Yeah,
Yes.
I would. Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely do it again.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm very, very impressed by the Blue Tits swimming group just getting in the North Sea today. It's cold, it's wet, but that didn't stop them. The mental and physical health benefits of open water swimming are well documented now and it's becoming increasingly popular. So back to you in the studio.
Now, I'm delighted to say that we are joined by one of the ladies involved in the making of that film. Shirley Gibbs joined us now. Shirley, of course, you've been swimming at least for a few years now. So at what age did you begin, and I suppose why did you begin open water swimming?
So I started when I was 54, so it's 3 years I've been doing that. Just after COVID, everyone needed to do something a bit, or wanted to do, and it was for my mental health. It just does absolute wonders for my mental health. Yep.
Just to sort of go back to what you were saying about your mental health, what do you feel, because obviously taking away the practicality of jumping in the water and swimming, obviously I can see there are a lot of being health benefits there. What do you feel sort of it benefits to you mentally, sort of the open water swimming?
So I swim on a Tuesday morning, and it just starts me fresh for the day, clears my mind for the day, and then my favourite time is a Friday after work. I just go along and it's just cold water therapy. It just absolutely clears my mind, gets rid of the whole working week, and I just ready for the weekend.
of course, I'm not an expert in open water swimming, so what does a regular blue tit session look like?
Regular blue tit session, you come along, you have a bit of banter when you're getting ready to go into the water. We'll then go into the water, again have a bit of banter, you can have handstands, some people will do a bit of distance, yeah, and what said in the water stays in the water. You can clear your mind.
It sounds like a real sort of safe space. Yeah. Now, just to sort of, I feel like there's been a real sort of modern shift in what people from the ages of 40 to 60 years old did 20 years ago, taking up hobbies such as sewing, baking. Now we're seeing women, especially women, which is great, to see them sort of taking up hobbies of putting on a wetsuit, going in the freezing cold water. Why do you think there's been a sort of shift in that? Do you feel like COVID played a part where people wanted to do something a bit different?
I think COVID has played a huge part, but then you've got like the menopause, people want to like get out of the house and things like that. And it's just, in general, it's really, really good for your mental health and other physical ailments as well.
Yes, you talked a little bit about the kind of the family aspect and what's said in the water stays in the water. Is that family aspect something that you're happy with now, or would you still like to see a few more people come to?
It's always nice to see more people, and it's always nice, especially to see like younger ones to get in the water as well. So yeah, we'll always welcome new people. Very inclusive.
That's very nice as well. Is there a massive difference to you in the way that open water swimming feels to you compared to indoor swimming as well?
Yeah, so how I feel just now is my indoor swimming, I do that for a bit for strength and get my distance, but certainly for my mental health, my open water swimming is definitely much better for my mental health.
And Shirley, you mentioned earlier that you had a daughter, is that right?
Yes.
Is she ever decided to join with you and do the open water swimming, or is that something she's not keen on?
Probably because it's to do with she's going to go with me. she won't do it. I've got a pod in the garden. She will do that, but she won't want to come to the beach with me.
Because I feel like it is like it can be for some people. Like I know I would personally, did it in Cornwall, absolutely loved it. Andrew, Shona, maybe not so keen to be doing the open water swimming. But it sounds like something that you could easily transition into loving it.
There are mother and daughters doing them, and we do have a member. She's about maybe 9 or 10.
Oh, that's great.
And yeah, and she's very well received, and it's good.
That was great. Thank you very much, Shirley. Still to come on this episode, we'll throw ourselves into the world of jiu-jitsu.
Lots to come, but before we get into all that, we're going to take a look at the sport of curling. For all the success it's seen in Scotland over the years, are you familiar with the sport?
Yeah, Curl Edinburgh is the only venue in the Lothians. Our reporter Eric attended an end-of-season tournament to take a closer look at curling and its development across Edinburgh.
Nestled next to the popular Murrayfield ice rink, Curl Edinburgh is the city's go-to destination to take part in the sport of curling. It's actually the only destination, as this privately owned rink is the only curling venue in the Lothians region. One of the main reasons for this is the high energy costs required to maintain the ice sheets, with funding being hard to come by.
As we've probably seen in the world that we're living in at the moment, grants are few and far between in the public sector and in the private sector. So I would definitely say that there probably won't be the same amount of grants available in the future, especially in this industry and curling and ice sports. As you can sympathise, that the energy costs are pretty astronomical.
Behind me is a group of avid curlers, eager to get in as much ice time as possible before the rink closes up shop ahead of the summer months. This is just one of several leagues that regularly practices and competes at Murrayfield. In fact, the venue here at Curl Edinburgh plays host to more than 80 clubs from across the Lothians, from ones based down in the Pentlands to several here in Edinburgh and ones based out in Livingston as well. In fact, even clubs from beyond the Lothians, for example 2 based in Peebles out in the Scottish borders, have to come up here to Murrayfield to reach their nearest curling facilities. But solving the issue takes more than just securing funds to build more curling rinks. There has to be enough interest among potential curlers to use them.
The issue for curling is the energy costs. So if you start building another ice rink within Lothians, how many people would support it? Would there be sufficient numbers to support the energy bills?
Scotland's curling successes on the international stage could help, with Olympic medals and championship trophies renewing interest among people here.
The awareness that we receive throughout Edinburgh and the Lothians could definitely be a lot better. However, I definitely think it is getting better with our curlers from here. The likes of our Bruce Mowatts, our Jen Dodds, the girls were out at the World Women's there, so with Sophie Sinclair and Gina Aiken that have all came through Muddyfield curling as a whole, and Curl Edinburgh now as a branch change. So we have definitely got some great curlers on our national international stages from Edinburgh, and they're driving the market and for us.
All the prominent homegrown talent just goes to show how valuable it is that these kinds of facilities remain accessible for developing curlers, so that the sport can continue to flourish in Scotland.
As Eric touched on there in his item, funding is a challenge for many of the sports we cover on Game On. Eric pulled together some data which he's going to walk us through now.
The first thing we can see here is this map from the Scottish Curling website, which shows the location of every curling facility in Scotland. We can see that there are only 22 such venues to serve the entire country. The map is actually outdated, however, because Ayr Ice Rink was indefinitely shut down toward the end of last year. The rink, like so many across Scotland, struggled in the face of rising energy costs. According to rink owner Ayr Curling Limited, the energy costs required to continue to keep the facilities open would have more than doubled following the end of their existing contract last year. The closure has had a measurable effect on sporting opportunities, particularly for young people. Chairman of Ayr Bruins Junior Ice Hockey Club, Alex Strachan, estimated that more than half of the children in the club would be forced to give up the sport, with no alternative venues available. And Ayr Ice Rink is not alone in its struggles. While Border Ice Rink, situated in Kelso, has remained open, the management there said last year that its energy costs have also doubled. Hundreds of curlers and skaters use this venue, meaning that any threat of closure would have a huge impact. But it isn't just curling and skating rinks that are facing challenges in staying afloat. Earlier this year, Edinburgh Leisure, which provides sports facilities across the city, published a list of 8 facilities that could be at risk of closing as a result of significant financial challenges, in large part due to increasing energy costs. Among the facilities at risk are 2 swimming centres, Portobello Swim Centre and Glenogle Swim Centre in Stockbridge. Now let's compare this to the funding being provided for other, more prominent sports, such as football. Millions of pounds across this year and next have been allocated for the sport in Scotland as part of a UK-wide investment scheme. This money is to pay for facilities such as changing rooms, pitches and floodlights across the country, and has been secured in partnership with the Scottish Football Association. This is just one example of the apparent disparities within sport in Scotland, which might be something that needs to be addressed.
Well, a lot to think about there. And finally, we end on the most popular of the sports we've been discussing today. Jiu-Jitsu is practiced across the world by the young and old, and while it might seem like an intimidating sport to you at first, we're here to prove to you it's not.
So we both pulled on a gi and gave it a shot. We are here at the Low Tide studio in Stockbridge, where Emma and I are going to test our mettle against some of the best jiu-jitsu artists in the city. But we're also here to take a look at some of the ins and outs of running a martial arts studio, and hopefully hearing from some of the voices from those that do. Emma, it's probably going to turn out to be a very exciting day of action.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, but we're very much looking forward to getting involved. Let's head inside.
My name's Simon Tutton, head coach and owner of Low Tide BJJ, which is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu studio, relatively central in Edinburgh. We offer predominantly Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes. My advice to people who want to do it, I always say give it a go, but also be mindful of like your limitations and your boundaries, right? So if you're going to go to a club, try to get in touch first, ask them about how you join, but also don't be too scared about asking them what to expect from the class and the club. My goal in this position would always be to try and get past the legs, right? Get around the legs. So I want to go from here all the way to here, to here, to here. If a gym's like, I don't need to tell you what to expect, you just turn up and do what I say, and that could be a bit of a red flag, right? So I'd say don't be too scared to ask what to expect, and do research. That's the other thing. I'd say give it a shot, have fun, be prepared to say no if someone asks you to do something quite like dangerous or difficult in the class, you don't feel comfortable doing it, have your boundaries, say no, I don't want to do that yet, I don't feel comfortable, I just want to test the water here. And also do your research. Look on YouTube, look online, try to get a good idea of what the sport actually is before you turn up. Because I love this sport, I do think it can help many, if not every kind of person, but also it's not like your entry-level martial art. You are going to have to like grab people eventually and be grabbed yourself, and at the core of it, it's about controlling another body and submissions and stuff, right? Even though it should be very safe, that's quite like a kind of a difficult kind of hurdle to overcome for some people. So I'd say do your research, definitely give it a go, but it is quite close contact and quite an intimate sport. But I do think there's a lot of benefits in doing that anyway. But yeah, kind of like just see what you're getting yourself in for, but definitely give it a shot because it's so much fun. Anyway. Let's have fun to be together. It's now finished. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good weekend. See you soon.
Well, we absolutely loved taking part in the class, and thank you so much to Sai for having us.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, even though Phil did put me through the ring around a little bit.
He didn't hold back at all. After the class, we went upstairs to the new studio where Sai took us through a private demonstration. Let's take a look.
So his arm is basically a vulnerable now. So with your left hand, you can grab his wrist, turn his thumb towards the ceiling, and what that does is make sure the elbow is pointing towards the floor. Okay? And then just slowly push down and just keep everything as it is. Yeah? So you see here, I turn your wrist above it so you get a bit more strength, and you use the weight of your arm, push down very, very slowly here, and there's the armbar, right? But you can feel it's like a bit of effort, right? It feels a little bit awkward. So then you can use your foot, slowly, and slowly push down. Your leg is stronger than your arm, and then there's another version. You can even use like your elbows, your leg elbows, your knees. You can even use that as well to like crush the arm, right? Often what happens, they do this. So if you do like a cactus arm, see there's no armbar now. If you can, yes, there you go. Very, very slowly now, lift your hips off the floor and lean forward towards me, very slowly. You've actually got quite flexible shoulders, but there it is. Is it? You got it? That's it?
I don't know what to do.
Don't worry.
Broken collarbone.
That's it. Alright. So Andrew, you can try both of the submissions, and then that'll be it for today. So that. We're in the scarf hold position. No, that's cool. So yeah, just sit your right butt cheek to the floor. Yeah, like that. And then, that's it. And this arm would be across here, right? So that's where we got to after the guard pass. So very slowly, I'll do the first one. Just grab the wrist, turn the wrist so the thumb is pointing towards the ceiling. This is already all you need. It's a ledge, and basically just slowly, very slowly pushing down, and then you tap when you feel 100% in the arm, right? Then you can try the same thing with your feet or knees as well. Kind of depends on the mobility. It could actually break the arms. You still got to be careful. And then, wait, before you do that, just like Emma would do this, that's usually what happens. Then we go over the top, and then you very slowly push into the floor with this foot and lift your hips up, very slowly. There you go, pretty strong one. All right, there you go. Nice work, guys, pretty good.
You know you're in a bad way.
You're in a bad spot there. Anytime where you're doing this stuff,
it's not.
Probably best off tapping. There you go.
Thank you, Simon. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Cheers. That's all right.
Cheers, Evan.
No worries, man.
Thanks.
No worries.
Brilliant.
Thanks again to Sai for the private class.
We're now joined by Ronan Foley, another coach at Low Tide Jiu-Jitsu. So Ronan, talk me through your role as a coach and some of the specifics that you get up to.
So I started coaching a little while ago now, maybe a year or so ago, and just kind of on and off basis initially, because I was really training a lot and progressing, and had some previous experience. And now I teach pretty regularly. I have a Thursday nights class that I teach, and I run some privates and stuff as well. And then at competitions and the like, I go along, and I'm often mat side coaching when we have multiple people on. So I'm trying to get I'm pretty involved in the club nowadays, and I'm there most days. It's good fun.
And Ronan, just to sort of go back now to your early, when did the journey of martial arts begin? What age were you when you sort of started it?
Yeah, so I was about 12 or 13 when I found jiu-jitsu, but I kind of tried a lot of different martial arts because I had some like, you know, experience with bullies and stuff when I was younger.
Okay.
And so I tried karate and taekwondo and lots of different martial arts, and then I went to jiu-jitsu, and it was one of the first martial arts that very early on let me like actually experience it and spar and do that kind of stuff. And so I knew that was the one for me. So I did it. Started when I was 12 or 13, and that was like over a decade ago now. So yeah.
And sort of like through your teens and like now, what sort of like benefits do you feel martial arts brings to you outside of obviously the physical attributes, sort of mentally? Like I know you just touched on there about the bullying side of things. Was that a real sort of like switch for you where you feel like I can handle myself? I can, if anyone sort of comes invasive in my space, I know how to handle the situation. Was that a real sort of benefit for you?
For sure, that was a huge benefit for me. Like feeling physically confident in yourself, you know, that you're like strong and flexible and able to do all this kind of stuff is awesome. But really the knowledge that you're comfortable in uncomfortable spaces is really, really powerful. Because I know that if someone did, like you say, invade my personal space, that not only do I know the tools to react, on how to react, but I'm also someone who is used to that. And so I'm much harder to make me panic, because that was something that happened the first time was I panicked, and now I know that I wouldn't. And that's really, really powerful, for sure.
Yeah, of course. We talked to Sai earlier as well, who's the head coach, so to speak, as well, and he was more than happy to have more people attend the low tide class. So I suppose, is social media an aspect that, or a channel that you're kind of looking to build on as well?
For sure, we're undergoing an expansion at the moment, and as we go through that, we're obviously going out to our current like waiting list and all that, but also we want to extend our reach on social media. So we do little videos every now and again of like technique instruction and like things to help people get into the sport and stuff like that, because it's a really useful tool to like outreach and access more people.
So how long have you been doing martial arts as well? Like you said,
Myself. Yeah, so I started the jiu-jitsu when I was 13, but probably from about 12 I'd been doing some different martial arts. I'd dabbled in all sorts of different stuff. And I've just continued with some of them, but jiu-jitsu became my main love and my real focus that I went all in on, and that was the one for me.
As fascinating as this is, Ronan, there's a lot coming through on social media, so I'm going to go check to see what everyone's saying. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And even though martial arts is still viewed as an alternative sport as well, why should people join?
For sure. So it's definitely on the fringes, but I think that you get the bonus of having the physical aspect and the competition that people love. But so many sports that have a strong social element are often team sports, and that can come with a lot of pressure and a lot of expectation to maybe compete and stuff like that. Whereas jiu-jitsu can be a very individual sport where you still practice in a team environment. So you're there every day, you're seeing your training partners, you're making friends, you're building into a community. And that can be a really, really powerful thing for people, so that you're not just like, you know, running or something where it's very individual, or you're not forced to play in a team, which can be stressful for people. You get a little bit of both. I think that can be really powerful.
I suppose at the end of the day as well, what is it about jiu-jitsu that makes you keep coming back?
For me, it's the complexity. It's a martial art that keeps on giving. Once you think you have an understanding of it, there's always another layer, and there's always another depth. And that means that the person who knows more can often win, regardless of the size and strength and disadvantages there. I think that complexity mixed with the social atmosphere is really what keeps me coming back.
Ronan, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Now, I believe Emma has an update for us across the socials. Emma.
Yes, I do. Thanks, Andrew. Lots of you had already been in touch with today's themes and the alternative sports we have included in today's episode. At Ryan, I'm sure has been a voice for many. He has stated, I have always wanted to begin my martial arts journey, but it's always felt like family and raising life has gotten in the way. I'm really looking forward to finding out more about jiu-jitsu today. At Linda12 also wrote in and said, I'm a 40-year-old English teacher and I've always counted myself as someone who does not play sports. Today's episode has made me realise there is more to sport than running, tennis and football. I would very much like to try the open water swimming, but definitely to start with in summer. Hello, Andrew.
Hello. Please do keep getting in touch. We've thoroughly enjoyed all of your responses so far. If you want to have a share and share your views, make sure to follow us on Instagram and E4 News Online, and check out the suggestion box across all of our stories.
I'm afraid that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Game On. As always, thank you for joining me, Andrew.
Thanks, Emma, and likewise as well. Join us next week where we tap into the world of tap dancing, throw ourselves into the world of ultimate frisbee, and we'll have our sights set on indoor shooting ranges across the capital. All of that and more, but for now, thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.